Hello, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I am going to make a Bajan meal. It's called Cou-Cou. Now if you're from the Caribbean, you know what I'm talking about. If you are here from the USA, you probably do not know what I'm talking about unless you were born in the islands. But this is a dish that is made in Barbados, and it's usually mainly like a Saturday dish. Some people cook it during the week. You can cook it any time that you want to, but mainly it is cooked on Saturday. Now I miss my mother because this is a meal that my mother cooked every Saturday. I lost my mother last year. She passed away last year, but I want to do this today in her memory. My mother cooked Cou-Cou every Saturday, and a lot of people remember her for that meal. My mother, when she is cooking Cou-Cou, she'll call up some of her friends and she'll say, I'm cooking Cou-Cou today. And believe me, they would be at her house. She would say, I'm finished at 12. They'll be at her house at 12 o'clock for this Cou-Cou. So after she passed away, a lot of people came to me and says, I remember your mom because she made the Cou-Cou and it was so good and so on. And had good things to say about her. So I'm going to make this in memory of her today. I am not going to be as good as her because she was good. And I'm making it a little bit different to how she made it, because they use, as I go along, I'll explain to you what I'm talking about. But first, let me show you the ingredients that goes into Cou-Cou. We're going to start, when you're making Cou-Cou, the first thing you have to do is make a gravy. And you have to decide what kind of gravy you're making, because the gravy is what makes the Cou-Cou taste really good. So you have to make sure your gravy is just right. So there's certain things that go along with Cou-Cou that really pops it and brings out the flavor more. And one thing is saltfish, which I had done earlier this week. Another thing is salmon that people cook off steamed fish or so on. But today I'm gonna do salmon and Cou-Cou, and this is canned salmon. And that's what mainly people use, canned salmon. Now this is a canned salmon I bought from the supermarket. I'm trying this one for the first time, so I'm not quite sure how it is, but it's canned salmon, and they come in all different varieties. The big thing that you need to make your Cou-Cou with is okras. You have to have okras. Okay, that's the main ingredients that goes into the Cou-Cou. Okras and cornmeal. So we have our okras and a cornmeal. That is for the meal Cou-Cou. So now I have to make a gravy, which the salmon is going to be the gravy. And here I have my onions, my tomatoes, my peppers, some garlic, and I have some fresh thyme. So let me go ahead and get my okras washed and get my vegetables here washed, and then I'll come back and cut them up and you'll see the process. Okay guys, the first thing I'm going to do is cut up my okras, and I'm going to show you how to cut the okras. You don't need this top part right there, and the bottom part, you're going to get rid of that because you don't want that, and you're going to cut your okras just like this. That's how you're going to cut your okras, okay? So, and when you cut your okras like this, I'm going to cut all the okras up like that. And then once I'm finished cutting this, I'll put this on to boil. And when this is boiled and cooked, then we'll do our Cou-Cou, okay? So I'll come back in a minute and show you the other process. Okay, so what I have here is the okras that I just cut up, and this is how you cook your okras. You cut your okras when you are going to make Cou-Cou. So I'm gonna put this on to boil. I have my water here, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna dump all this in the water. I'm going to add only some salt to this, and then let that boil. And when this boil and the okras are cooked, then we're going to start to make the Cou-Cou. But this is just going to sit here for a few minutes and cook. Okay, So this is my pan. I'm gonna get my pan here all situated. So I'm putting some oil in my pan. I'm making here now the salmon gravy. So it's little oil, that's olive oil. And I will now cut up my onions and peppers and so on and add to my oil. So I'm gonna start by cutting up my onion. And this is how I cut the onion to make my gravy. And this is how, you know, most people cut up the onion, and then you get a small part like this. You can just go like that. That's my onion I have over here, which is already ready, is my garlic. And I tend to use a lot of garlic. Garlic is very good for you. As a little girl, my grandmother always used to make this on Saturday too. I used to live with my grandmother for a while. And I did not like cou-cou growing up as a little girl. Over the years, I like it. But growing up as a kid, I did not like it at all. I think it's like an acquired taste. Most of my friends that live here in the US, I've never heard of cou-cou. They have no idea what cou-cou is. And to give it to them to taste, I don't know if they'll like it because they've never tasted me. It's always good to try something at least once. But it's an acquired taste. Now I have my pan of oil, and I'm going to take this and put inside of my oil and saute for a few minutes. So come, let me show you. So I have in here my onions, my garlic, and my pepper, and I'm just gonna let this sit here for a few minutes and saute. As you can see, my onions have been sauteing for a while. So now what I'm gonna do is add my tomatoes. I just add the tomatoes, and as you can see, I added some thyme in here, and just mix this up. Give it a few minutes in here to just saute it along in there. And then I'm gonna add my seasonings as well. So this is the okra water here. The okra is a cook. I really don't need to boil it anymore, but I'll just let that continue there for a few minutes. The stove is low until I'm finished with this. Another thing that I'm gonna do, guys, so my next step while my onions are sauteing for my gravy is I'm going to go ahead and I am going to soak this cornmeal first. So I'm going to do 2 cups. That's 1. Not sure how much this is going to yield, but I'll do 2 cups of cornmeal. And then the next thing to do is to soak your meal until you're ready to use it. So I'm gonna put a little bit of water. You don't want to put too much water, just a little bit of water. And put a little more water. You don't want to put too much water, but you just want to soak the cornmeal for a little bit. Okay. That's about good, guys. I'm just gonna let it sit here for a few minutes and soak while I continue on with my gravy. Okay, guys, now this is my onion, tomatoes, garlic, and so on that has sauteed. So I'm going to add some ingredients that I add to my gravy. So I'm going to start with some ketchup. Guys, just put some ketchup in. You don't need to measure anything. Ketchup is good. I am going to add, even though I have garlic in there, I'm still going to add a little bit of garlic salt. I'm going to add a little bit of seasoned salt in there. Yippee, yippee, yippee. As I said, you can use whatever kind of seasonings you like. You can use your own seasoning, it's fine. This is my pepper sauce. I am going to, because cou-cou tastes good when it's nice and spicy. The gravy is nice and spicy. If it's not, you need to add some on there. I'm going to go ahead and add some black pepper. And I will add a very little amount of salt. This is my salt here. And after the gravy is finished, you can always taste it to see if you need to add more salt to it. Okay, so now I am going to add my salmon to this. So let me get my salmon together and show you. I have my canned salmon here now that I'm going to add to my gravy. But before I add this and I open this, I must wash the top of it. Okay, this is something because you don't know what run around inside the stores, mice, whatever, who knows, I don't know, roaches, whatever inside the store. So you always make sure you wash. I always put a little soap and wash it off, just to make sure that there's no particles on there that is going to go into my gravy. So first you wash that off. And then this is what you're going to do. You open your can. And this is what it looks like on the inside. I'm going to pour this water off in a sink. I don't want that water. I pour that water off, and then I'm going to add this to my gravy. So this is the canned salmon. I just add to my gravy. And now I'm going to add some water to that. Excuse me. Oops, I need more water in here. Put the stove up a little more. I'm going to add some water to that, because one thing you always like when you're having cou-cou is a lot of gravy. So I'm going to add, I think I'll probably add a little more water to this. It's probably about good, but I'll just add a little tip more. That's it. I don't need any more. That's good enough. And I'm just going to let this stay here and continue to boil. So now while this is finishing up, this is almost done, I'm going to go ahead now and start on the cou-cou. So I have my okras over here. The okras are boiled, so I'm going to pour this okra water out and I'll show you what I'm going to do. Oops. I may have to put this on the back of the stove and let that finish up there, and put this on the front of the stove. So now this is the okra water. I'm going to pour this all out. See how slimy it is? That's what okras are. Okras is slimy. I'm going to pour that there. I'll pour a little bit of water back in here, just a little bit. And I am going to now take my cornmeal that I had soaking, and I'm going to empty my cornmeal in here. That's my cornmeal in there. Let me rinse my pan. Now what I was going to tell you earlier, guys, is cornmeal called for a special spoon that I do not have. It's called a cou-cou spoon, okay? It so happens that I don't have one, and when you're cooking the cou-cou, your stove have to be lower, your heat have to be lower, because you want your meal to be able to take its time and cook. You don't want to cook it too fast. It has to take its time and cook, otherwise it's going to start to stick to the bottom. So you need, and I don't have a cou-cou stick, but I'll show you what I'm going to do. Add some more of that and just keep stirring. But this is a special, there's a special stick for this that all the old people have inside the kitchen. called a cou-cou stick. And the cou-cou stick, you gotta do like this and do it like this because it's flat. It's flat. And the purpose of that is so that when the lumps and stuff come up from the cornmeal, you can just kind of beat the lumps out. And just keep adding water. Just keep adding some. Now guys, we take out some of the okras and just dump the okras in there. Because this is called cou-cou. You want your okras, all of your okras in there. Right guys? And keep stirring. I left Barbados years ago, but I still remember all this stuff to do, and I have not done this in years, but I still remember how to do it. I haven't forgotten because this is stuff I grew up with. I live in the US for umpteen years, but I'm still a Bajan at heart, so I still know my Bajan stuff. So for all you Bajans back there, I am still Bajan. I live up here in the US, but I'm still Bajan. So I still know to cook my cou-cou and my salmon and all my good stuff. So I'm going to let this cook for a couple minutes and then I'll come back and stir it some more. Guys, this is the cou-cou. I am so surprised that this little flat spoon is actually doing the job, because as I said, you're supposed to, when you're making cou-cou, you put it to the end like this, and this way you get rid of any lumps and so on. That's how they usually get the cou-cou to be nice and smooth, to get rid of any lumps. So the cou-cou stick is flat and you keep putting it like this, and what's it being doing? This looks pretty good. And here I have all the okras in here that you saw me cut up, and I didn't add any salt or anything to the okras because I added to the I'm sorry, I didn't add salt to the cornmeal because when it was boiling the okras, I added salt. That was the only thing I added to the cornmeal, to the okras while they were boiling. So I keep adding liquid. I'm not going to add any more liquid to this because I think this is about right. But I'm going to continue. It's starting to stick a little bit to the bottom, so I know it's just about finished. But I'm just going to continue to keep stirring it for a little bit. And then as soon as this is finished, I'm going to plate it. I turn the stove over here off of the gravy because the gravy is finished. That's done. So I turn the stove off. I tasted it and it tastes really good. I don't need to add anything else to it. It tastes perfect. So that's going to stay like that. And I'm going to continue to beat this cou-cou for a little bit. So if you're making cou-cou, guys, just look at this texture. Just make sure this was hidden out for about maybe 20 or 25 minutes. You have to stay near it because you don't want it to burn. In order to have your cou-cou, you need some kind of vegetable next to it, and people use cucumber because cucumber goes well with that. So I'm slicing up a cucumber here really quickly, and I have some avocado, and that goes well with your cou-cou. Carrots and broccoli and stuff for cou-cou doesn't go well with cou-cou. It have to be cucumber. And so when I slice my cucumber like this, you can do it with the skin or without the skin. Sometimes the skin is hard. If it's an old cucumber, the skin might be hard. And then you take your lemon. I put my hand here to get the seeds. Oh, this one. Oh, yeah. And you squeeze that in there. You mix it up and you put a little bit of salt to it. You sprinkle a little salt in there. And you mix it up really quickly. You can add your avocado to this, or you could eat your avocado separate. I'm gonna do the avocado separate because I personally do not like avocado. I don't eat it. My husband does. so he can eat it on the side. So I don't want the avocado in here. So I'm gonna taste a piece of this. Always taste it to see if maybe it added too much salt. If you add too much salt by mistake, that's okay. Just rinse it off and start again. It's good. It's just you right amount of salt and lemon I have in here. You don't want too much. So this is to go with my cucumber, and I have my avocado. So now I'm gonna serve up my cou-cou so you can see what that looks like. That's your cou-cou right there, your cornmeal, and then I'm gonna take my, that looks good. Now take my salmon gravy, that's my thyme right there, and put it all on top of the cou-cou. This is the thyme. We don't need the thyme. You can put the thyme back there. And then you put and guys, my cou-cou is already finished. And this is Bajan cou-cou, cornmeal cou-cou with salmon gravy. It looks good. It tastes good. I wish you were here to taste it, but this is what most Barbadians eat on Saturday. This is a Saturday dish. As I said, it can be eaten anytime during the week, but it's usually eaten mainly on Saturday. I made this in remembrance of my mother. My mother was very good at cooking cou-cou, and this is what she cooked on Saturday. To my surprise, I did not have a cou-cou stick, which is the main thing to really like get all the lumps and so on with the cou-cou. But my stick did a good job. I'm really impressed. So that's my cou-cou. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you try this dish. You see, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that hard to make. Try it if you've never tried it. Try it for the first time to see if it's something that you will like. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Look forward to seeing you next time. Bye bye.